Hi, I am just wanting to share my story about being drugged and raped and the other things that happened when I was living in Dearborn, Michigan, right on the border of Dearborn and Detroit. I lived on Tireman and Coyle, and at first what happened was I was couch surfing with someone who lived in Dearborn, and I was working at a restaurant, and I ended up I never really got close with anybody there, but, you know, I recognized some of the regular people. So I'd worked on and off there for like 5 years. And I ended up leaving work. I worked like 14 hours. And I was on my way home, and my tire went flat. So then I ended up looking behind me when I pulled over, and there was this car behind me. It was like I think it was like a Cadillac SUV or something. And the guy got out, and it was a customer at from the restaurant that I worked at. So I was happy. I was like, oh, you know, my tire went flat, and I'm staying at this apartment, but my roommate didn't let me in, and so I'm locked out. So I was just driving. I didn't know, you know, I had another place to stay, but it was an hour and a half away. But with a flat tire, I couldn't get there. So it was the middle of winter, and he's like, well, I'll change the tire for you. And I thought, you know, he's a nice person. So we started talking, and he said he couldn't change the tire. And then he said, but my family owns a hotel, and I can get you a room there. So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to get a free room. That's fine. So he drives me out to Milan, and we went in, and I thought he was going to give me my own room, but he didn't. It was a room that he had used, and so there was some alcohol in there, and I had a drink to try to relax. I was very wired from drinking Diet Pop all day, trying to stay awake at work and have energy. So then he says, do you want to get in the jacuzzi? So I got in the jacuzzi, and I was wearing my underwear and bra because I didn't have any bathing suit. And he was in his underwear, but then he, like, you know, got an erection or whatever, and was like kind of making passes at me. So then I was kind of sad about it because I just wanted somewhere to sleep, and I knew he was gonna be making passes at me, so I felt like I was gonna get kicked out and have to, I didn't know what I was gonna do in the middle of winter, 45 minutes away from my car, and I didn't have enough money for a cab or anything like that. So I was like, all right, I'll try to, like, get out of it. So we ended up changing, and I had a towel, and I laid down, and I kind of laid down with, like, my knee up, my one leg down because the lights were down, and I had my leg, one of my knees up, and he was doing something with his back turned, and then he turned around and just kind of shoved his penis in me. And so I just kind of sat there for a minute, and then he got comfortable, and then he was just sitting there. And so I was like, okay, let me check to see, you know, I kind of squirmed around a little bit, and I touched down there because I thought he's acting weird, you know, and I just wanted him to stop. So I touched down there to see like what he was doing, if he had a condom on, and he didn't have a condom on. So then I started crying, and I said, can you please stop, you know, because I already didn't want to do it. But I wanted him to stop because I didn't feel a condom. And I said I didn't want to get HIV. And so he stopped, and then he said, oh, I gotta go to work. And I guess he worked there at the hotel. So, or maybe somewhere in the area, I don't know. So then my mistake was that I thought that I was safe because I had worked in the community long enough that people would probably know that I had been married, and then, you know, I was a good person or whatever. And that's not how it was. Basically, nobody really cared. It's not funny, but that's basically how it is, how it was. So I ended up falling asleep. And then I woke up, and I'd only fallen asleep for maybe a half hour. But when I woke up, like, my vaginal area was really sore, and it was swollen. I mean, to the point where I couldn't, like, sit down. I was uncomfortable sitting. And there was a little bit of bleeding when I used the bathroom from my vagina. So then I was like, okay, I couldn't figure out if that was from sex or, you know, I had no idea that there could have been any kind of date rape drug. But I ended up going home. I went back to work, and he was just kind of, I guess he knew everybody in the area and was a drug dealer, because every time I got invited somewhere, he would be there. Like the 3 times that I went somewhere, he was there. And one of the times I had met somebody there, and I didn't know he knew him. And he was like trying to talk to me or whatever, but he was my age. You know, this guy was, I think, 5 years younger than me, the first guy. So he invited me to his house. He had this big, huge house in Dearborn Heights. And I went over there, and after a couple of days, the first guy shows up, the guy from the hotel. And it just was like every time I went somewhere, he would show up. And I thought that was weird, but because there was always drugs, you know, I thought he was selling drugs. But I never asked him because I don't do drugs. And I feel, at the time, I felt that it was better if I didn't know, because I just didn't want to get in any trouble. And I ended up leaving. His friend was trying to sleep with me, but I wasn't comfortable with it. And then he and his friend ended up sleeping with my friend. So we left. And even though I had paid, I wanted to rent a room from him, and I tried to pay him rent. And this was before I got my apartment.